Welcome guys, Frank is back, and today I've got my Enfield Himalayan with me in the background, and the main question is still open. And the main question is maybe for you when you want to buy a motorcycle in the 400 area right now. What bike should I buy? Maybe Himalayan or a 390, a KTM 390 Adventure. So I've got experience in both bikes, and I want to explain a little bit my opinion and to help you to find out the right motorcycle for you. Let's start with the Himalayan 411 CCM here. So yeah guys, this is my Himalayan here, which was totally burned. I don't want to tell too much about that. If you're interested in, please jump a few videos in the back, and there also describes the accessories which I've mounted here and so on. Let me check some points and help me out you to find the right decision to buy the right bike. Let's start with the seat position. The seat position at the Himalayan is a little bit more upright than at the 390 Adventure, the KTM 390 Adventure. And not only on that seat, it's a special seat, but only on the seat which the bike is coming out of the factory. So that is the plus for the Himalayan. In my opinion, you can sit or I can sit a little bit more upright at that bike. The second point is the suspension. The suspension, or mainly the rear suspension, or the shock, yeah, from the KTM is very hard. It seems very hard and not so comfortable to me. Also, when you put it in a smoothable position, you can adjust, and it's a little bit hard and jumpy, yeah. So mainly when you are riding without luggage, and this is, as the Himalayan is a little bit more comfortable. It seems a little bit more comfortable to me. It's also a low budget suspension, like also mounted at the 390 Adventure, but it's a little bit more comfy. So these both points are plus points for the Himalayan: the seat position and the suspension. And the third point is a little, it's not so urgent, but I think it's a very important point. We are talking about the main stand, the cone stand here. The Himalayan has a main stand here coming out of the factory, and the KTM 390 haven't one. So in my opinion, you can't buy one, you can't buy a main stand for the 390 Adventure, because there's a muffler mounted directly where you normally mount your main stand. And I think it's an important thing to have one. When you want to check your rear tire and your rear wheel, you have to put out your rear wheel, and want to grease your chain and so on. Yeah. So I think it's important. It's important to me to have a cone stand. 3 plus points for that bike. And now the plus points for the KTM 390 Adventure. Yeah, the horsepower. This one has 24 horsepower, and the KTM has 44 horsepower, and it's a little bit more sporty. That's a little bit, sometime a little bit boring when you're riding maybe with 60 miles or 100 kilometers an hour. That's a comfy range with that bike. When you have to drive often highway or autobahn in Germany, I would recommend the 390 Adventure, because if you got wind from the front at 100 kilometers an hour, 60 miles, 65 miles, is the end. There's nothing. And when a big truck is coming behind, I think you can have a little bit sweat, yeah, on your face. So I try to drive not on the highway, not on the autobahn with that bike. So that's a plus point for the KTM 390 Adventure. Also a plus point for the KTM is the brake. The front brake is much more better than at that bike. I say sometimes the front brake isn't there. Yeah, there's no front brake mounted. So bad at that kind of front brake. Yeah, you have to brake with your rear brake also, and then when you use both brakes, It's okay, but it's not 2020. Yeah, so I think I've got a XT600 in the 1980s, or right now my KLR 650, which is right now in Vancouver. It's built, I don't know, but it's manufactured in the 90s, and that's the same brake situation. So yeah, it's a point for the 390 Adventure. And when you like it a little bit modern, your cockpit, and it's an LCD cockpit with a Bluetooth connection, and you have a mirror function, I think so. You can mirror some navigation marks and so on. It's a little bit more modern. Yeah, but when you want to make a world tour, riding everywhere in the Pampa, in Argentina, or wherever, I want to recommend this bike, because everyone maybe on every village can repair it, can weld it, can only need a big hammer and some wrenches, and can repair maybe everything or nearly everything. So yeah, let me give you a conclusion. When you need a smooth bike, you want to go only to the grocery, and maybe as a second bike you've got a bigger one in your garage, or a third bike, and yeah, slow down, relax, upright seat position, a little bit more comfy suspension, that's the KTM 390, and you want a count stand, then please purchase this one. By the way, normally the Himalayan is 20% cheaper. I talk from Germany, I don't know where it's in how it's in other countries. It's a little bit cheaper than the KTM 390. When you're a more modern guy, a sporty guy, and like the optic, it's a little bit more modern than the Himalayan, then please buy the 390 Adventure. In my opinion, I prefer the Himalayan, but only as a second bike, yeah, not a first bike. I think for a first bike or a main bike, when you want to use it as a main bike, a little bit more horsepower should be. Yeah, that's a fast conclusion about that bikes. Both bikes, KTM 390 Adventure and Himalayan, are both in the 400 CCM range. And yeah, when you want to have fun, when you want to have or I want to travel very remote, I want to say, then have a look to the Himalayan dealer and have fun with that. So that's the conclusion, and was a main question I want to answer here today. And yeah, thanks for your interesting, and goodbye, says Frank. And stay tuned on my channel.